and welcome to the Summer Hockey League. Today we're going to be talking about the playoffs. The postseason. Here we go. It starts on Saturday with a doubleheader. Don't have the schedule written out yet as far as broadcast schedule, but I know that's how I want to kick it off. And then let's get to this. So, here you have a little thing you can see since the beginning of the video. The in-game poster. Then at the end I'll show you my prediction that I made, which is another, not board, but another image, a bracket that I made. So here's the in-game bracket with just the matches filled out, no predictions. This is right from EA Sports, as you can see in the corner. So we'll work from east to west. So, and we'll go top to bottom. So starting in the east, we have the Atlanta Freight Train taking on the New Orleans Crusaders. So the way it's set up here is the versus. Otherwise, it would say at. So New Orleans, the team on the left side is the home team, and the team on the right side is the road team. So the New Orleans Crusaders gonna host the first two games of this series in Atlanta, in New Orleans. The Atlanta Freight Train. This is gonna be an uphill battle for Atlanta. If they want to do this well, which I'm rooting for them. They're my team. They're the first team that I created for this league. It's the name of a franchise team I had. That's why I like them so much. So, but anyways, back to the point. Atlanta, if they want to win, they have got to work hard, score goals, be tough. They gotta play a full 60 minutes, and they gotta play a game from their own end to the other end. If you can't do those two things, you're not winning this series against New Orleans. On the New Orleans side, what they've got to do is they've got to shut Atlanta down. They've got to play defensively. Because they're going to try and come in hot and surprise this New Orleans team. And the Crusaders, they've got to be ready. And we head down to Augusta, the Ambassadors, and the Washington Generals. So these first two, these are South Division matchups. And so Augusta, they have the home turf first. They have the first two home games. Use those two home games to your advantage. I guess same with the New Orleans, and same for really all of these. Is when you've got to use that crowd to motivate you, get ready to go. Because the second two games, when you're trying to close that series out, you're not going to have that. And you better be. So take those first two games. Don't take those first two games for granted. On the Augusta side, that is. And again, you've got Augusta. They need to be strong. They need to be. It's whoever gets the jump in this series. It's kind of, since it's not. It's like second and third. It's not. Neither of these teams won the division. It could go either way. And it's whoever's first. Whoever goes first. Whoever starts off hot probably will win this series. So those first two games are really important on both sides. Washington, the Generals, they need to start strong on the run. And then if they can do that, then they should be able to ride it home, assuming that the home ice advantage actually means something. Moving on to the North Division, the bottom two, we'll start with the Baltimore Blast being hosted by the Atlantic City Admirals. For at least the first two games anyway. So, Baltimore Blast against the Atlantic City Admirals. Atlantic City is going to be very strong. They're very good with the offense. They're great at passing. They're probably the best team in the East. That's made the postseason anyway. That's good at passing. This team is fantastic at passing. They're so good at it. They're basically the East version of the Victoria Vikings. They are so good. They 1, 2, 3, just great cycles. That's what I've noticed watching this team. Great cycles. They get to the net. They don't just hold it at the point. They don't just go around the edges. They're going to make it to the net, and they're going to get more, especially on power plays. They're going to use that to their advantage against Baltimore. On the Blast side, what they've got to do is they've got to work hard. Again, it's like neither of these teams won the division, so it could go either way. But the Baltimore Blast, what they need to do, focus on scoring, tiring out the other team's offense, defense. They've just got to press hard. Because it's not going to be easy for Baltimore because Atlantic City is really good. And they just barely... Atlantic City held the top spot in the North for pretty much most of the season. And then Hartford stole it from them. So you might as well treat them like a division leader. Treat them like one. Because they were for most of the season. And then they lost it. And speaking of division leaders, we move to the Hartford Heroes and the New York Ramblers, the final matchup of the Eastern Conference. So the Hartford Heroes, they just stole it from Atlantic City, and they've got to ride that wave into this postseason. Again, I said this with Augusta. Use those first 2 games to your advantage. You've got home ice advantage. Use that to, that crowd. They're going to be loud. They're going to be pumped. Get that crowd. You want to get that New York team. You want to get their bench. You want to overload them. Just make them just not prepared. Because they're probably not New York. It's going to be one of the... It's probably going to look like the Washington Capitals series from this past NHL season. It's probably going to look like that. Because New York... I didn't think they were going to be where they were. I thought... probably halfway in the season, I thought it was going to be Hamilton. I thought Hamilton was going to be in it. Nope. They dropped out. They were third. Halfway through the season, they were in third place. They're out. Yeah, they fell apart. In New York, after making that playoffs, when they just made the postseason, they've got to ride that into this postseason. Same with Hartford. Except for it's going to be an uphill battle. They've got to just keep on going. It's not going to be an easy battle. And if they can get Hartford on their heels, maybe they can win this thing. They can win this series and maybe move on to round 2. So we head to the West. So starting off, we'll go top to bottom again. We'll start off with the Mountain Division. The Alaska Aces and the Everett Explosion. First of all, I'm so glad Alaska's in, so... A team a team that used to exist. They're in it. The Alaska Aces and Everett. This should be an easy Aces victory, but Everett, they still got a chance. I haven't seen much of them, but what I have seen, some of it was pretty good. They can score. They've got to use their two-ways, because I've seen them be both really good on the offense and really good on the defense. They've got to play the full rink. They've got to play both the offense and the defense. And the two-way guys. Play everybody. Play your best. Play your best guys. The top guys should be, especially on the Everett side, use those top guys as much as you can. Use those guys you know you can rely on. Everett. Because Alaska's good. Really good. They're just great at everything. They're not perfect, but overall, they don't have too many, downsides. Despite not being the best team. They're probably the best team. One of the best teams all around besides Victoria. They're just so good on every category. They're fantastic. And they're probably they look the most dominant to watch. Besides Victoria. We'll get to that. Well, speaking of Victoria, here we are. Yeah. Good luck, Las Vegas. Good luck. Good luck to the Gladiators. It's gonna... it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be very tough. You're playing a division leader, and you're playing the best team in the Summer Ice Hockey League. If they can get two wins out of this series against the Vikings, they've done a dang good job being the Gladiators. They're good. Just compared to Victoria, I don't think they could hold up. I don't think they could. Then we moved to the Central Division. So in the Central, First we got the Columbus Chill and the Wichita Wild, so the travel might screw things up here. This is the first one where the distance is just so huge. Well, actually, both these two, the Las Vegas Victoria Series and this one, the distance is very big. It's very far away. I mean, this is like Nashville and Vancouver, basically. Like you're on the other side. Wichita, that's in the south. Columbus, that's in the Midwest. That's in the northern part of the Midwest. That's Ohio. That's quite a few hours away. So, I mean, it probably won't make a difference because it's a video game. Because I don't think that the thing would take that into account, but I don't even know if they would. Do they take that into consideration? I don't know. But there's a big distance just for fantasy things. I want to know that. Columbus Shell. It's gonna be tough, but I think Columbus can do this. I think they can. I genuinely think the Chill can do this because at the end of the season, they really improved, and that's why they're where they are. The Columbus Chill, they were like barely holding on to a playoff spot, and then they made to third. They basically did the opposite of the Hamilton Sharpshooters by going from about to lose your playoff spot to solidly in third. Just good on them. The Wichita Wild on your side, their side, use your offense because they have they have it overload style, crash the net style of offense. They don't. There's all at once, just going here. Victoria does something similar, and they're better at it. But it's gonna be It's gonna be an interesting series on both sides. And by the way, I'm watching the Pittsburgh Anaheim game, the Penguins and the Ducks. I'm watching that right now. Here on this Thursday night. To our final matchup, we have the Kitchener Kingsmen hosting the Quebec City Royals for the first two games of the series. So Kitchener and Quebec. The Kitchener Kingsmen. It's kind of a surprise that they're where they got. I didn't think they were gonna get as high as they. I thought they were gonna stay in second the entire season. They overtook Wichita. The Wild are basically the Atlantic City Admirals of the West. They held the first place for a long time, and then Kitchener, they took it. They stole it. And not exactly as dramatic of a fashion as the Admirals, but yeah, it still did happen. But the Wichita Wild are still really good. Is the one thing working against the Columbus Shell and the Kitchener Kingsmen. Well, that's one thing working against the Columbus Shell and the Quebec City Royals. It's a common thing with both these. Both these teams are not. I did not expect either of these teams to be as good as they are. Kitchener and Wichita. They're both really good. So their opponents, they have to work their tail off if they want a chance. Quebec, similar to New York, it might be lopsided. So that's your round one preview. All right, on to my prediction. So here it is. Right here. Here's my prediction. It's on the community tabs, or at least it will be. And it's what I think's gonna happen. And here's why. Victoria, they're just so good. And Pittsburgh just scored. All right, who was it? It was since I have the audio off, I don't know. Well, anyway, I'm gonna keep going. So the Victoria Vikings, they're just so good. Even against the last guy, I think the Aces are would get. I think that's almost probably That's probably going to be a matchup somewhere. That's probably going to be a matchup in this series. I wouldn't be surprised. So, and if this happens, which it probably will, I think Victoria will win just because how excellent their power play is. That is their biggest strength. Their offense, specifically their power play. It's like basically a 95% chance they're gonna score if they have a power play. It's like a 90% chance. They usually score. It's insane. But their opponents, I chose Atlantic City because I loved what I saw. I was like, I think this team is gonna do well in the playoffs. This is probably gonna end up being dead wrong, but it's my prediction for the league that I made. I think Atlantic City. I think they've got what it takes. My guess for the final, I'm gonna guess that it goes all the way to 7. That's my guess. Even if it's not this matchup, if it goes, the Gaudreau Cup final is gonna go all the way to 7 games. And speaking of the trophy, we named it after Johnny Gaudreau. Rest in peace, my buddy. Rest in peace. Call it the Gaudreau Cup because I kind of didn't want to call it the Summer Ice Hockey Cup League Trophy. I didn't want to call it the Summer Trophy. That's what I was going to call it. And it's kind of boring. Summer Cup. That sounds okay. And then to honor Johnny Gaudreau once I heard he died, I came up with ideas. This was one of them. Honors him, and it also serves as the name for my cup, which I didn't really have a great one. This gives me one. So other than that, this is my prediction, and the reason. Here's the reason some teams that probably should get in don't. Alaska. The Aces, although they're good, I don't know that they could hold up to Victoria. Power play. I don't think they could hold up to that power play that the Vikings have over there in British Columbia. I don't think they could. They're probably the reason Wichita they don't move up despite being statistically better than Columbus, because Columbus their team has improved throughout the second half of the season, so I think they could ride that wave and win the series. It's my prediction. The reason Hartford and gets beat by Atlantic City, that's probably the easiest one to explain. Because Atlantic City hold the top spot in the North for most of the season. So, yeah. They had it for pretty much, they had it from, day one till with less than a week left, they lost it. So, yeah, that's my predictions. That's much as I'll give. Thank you for tuning in. If you decide to tune in this long, see you next time. Goodbye.